I'm Gary Biondo. Okay, I've been in Mongolia for 7 years and actually have been a confirmed expat for almost 40 years. I first went overseas in 1984 and have never lived back. I grew up in the Midwest of the United States, basically the middle of nowhere, and as I was growing up, I wanted to travel. To explain how I ended up in Mongolia, is it okay if we go back a little bit further in time? We go back to 1984. I had just graduated from college. I had a graduate degree in classics. I studied Latin and Greek. And like a lot of people with a degree like that, which was a wonderful degree, I enjoyed it immensely. But then you get to the point where you have to earn a living. And like a lot of people in that position, with no real jobs prospects, I decided, okay, what to do? I'm going to travel. So I had a connection to China and a friend in China. So I actually ended up in China in 1984. Those were the very early days when China had just opened up. And again, looking for something to do with my career. This is also the time when the hotel industry, the five-star hotel industry, was just starting to emerge in China. So I said, why not? I'll have a go at hotels. I went back to the United States. I had previously, over the course of my young life, had worked as a bartender and a waiter and a cook and a dishwasher. But I went back to the United States. I got a job as a front office receptionist and transferred to housekeeping and cleaned rooms and just started at the bottom in the hotel industry. Worked my way up in a couple of years in the United States to sort of a management level position. Thought I knew enough to be competitive and jumped back over to Asia. I realize now looking back that I did not know anything. I knew absolutely nothing, but I was very brave. And I got very lucky too. In 1991, I joined a Hong Kong-based hotel company called SHANGRI-LA Hotels and Resorts, which at that time had a huge expansion plan in China. So I joined this company. That was my career. This was the career part of my life. I worked for SHANGRI-LA for almost 30 years. Altogether, I've spent about 35 years in hotels, which brings me to Mongolia. Well, first back to SHANGRI-LA. SHANGRI-LA, I think, is a family-orientated company. Okay, they like our hotels and our shopping malls to be lively places with a lot of movement and a lot of people. And it's not just about spending. It's not just about if you have spending power, you come to our environment. We tried to be welcoming to everyone. At that time, of course, SHANGRI-LA, Mongolia was the frontier. Okay, and when they asked me to come up here and be the pre-opening GM, I had done openings for several hotels, and I said, why not? Mongolia is something new. It's an adventure. It's exciting, and so I went for it. It was a great challenge to open the hotel. I think it was a success. I realized when I came here that there are a lot of things that SHANGRI-LA could do to help move the business environment along. Whether it's obviously the obvious things like higher standards in food and beverage, higher room standards, cleanliness standards, things like that, but also internally things like just a proper human resources structure, and the way you manage your employees, okay, your business outreach, your outreach to the community. All those things became part of the package for setting up the business here, and it was an exciting time, and I think it was a lot of fun. Yeah. I think SHANGRI-LA had a positive impact on the business environment. I think that after SHANGRI-LA opened, a lot of local restaurants and bars and establishments really raised their level. Okay, so my recommendation to young people that are thinking of starting their own business, first would be get the basics right. Innovation is fun. Creativity is fun. That's all part of business. But you need to get the basics right first. If you're talking about a hotel, okay, a guest room is not complicated. You need a good bed, clean sheets, a high level of cleanliness, hot water in the shower, and interestingly enough, as the world has changed, you need fast Wi-Fi. A little aside story, but I can remember the days in the hotel industry when every hotel room had to have a fax machine. I can even remember when hotels had one fax machine at the front desk. I promise you now, there's hundreds of hotels all over the world that down in the basement they have a storeroom full of fax machines that aren't used anymore. That's the changing part of the business, the innovation of the business, the keeping up with what's going on in society. But the basics don't change. Know what your basics are. Know what your core product is, and make sure you get that right. As you know, I'm involved in a CU corporation.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm one of the board directors with CU, and this is the message I take to them as a board member. It's about quality. Okay, friendliness, service. Okay, product. Okay. Yes, location is important, having stores all over the city, all of those things, but without quality, it's not sustainable. You go into CU, what's the promise? I want a hot cup of coffee in the morning, okay? That's again is a basic. The coffee machine has to work, it has to make a good cup of coffee. The purchase and the financial exchange and getting your coffee has to be seamless. If it takes over 1 minute, you've lost already. All of that just has to be quick. Yeah, you want a sandwich, it has to be fresh, okay? And logistics and supply chain and all of that, putting the business together is incredibly complicated. But if you're not focused on the basics, friendly service, okay, the quality of your product first, okay, you lose the business. The innovation and the creativity and introducing new products and new food lines and all of that, that's part of it too. It's a very important part. But again, back to your question, get the basics right. Okay, then you move forward. Well, most of my career was spent in China, 7 different cities. Although I had 4 wonderful years in the Fiji Islands. It's interesting. You go from the middle of the South Pacific to the middle of North Asia. There's a nice connection there. Let's not talk simplicities, but people are people everywhere. A workforce is a workforce. What do people want? They want a good wage. They want to make a good living, okay? They want to be able to provide for their families. But one of the things that I noticed that was different about Mongolia, and again, we can tie this to your last question. The workforce here, I think, has a desire to be more involved in the business. They want ownership. Okay, they want to understand what's going on. Okay, they want to understand the basics of the business and what we're about. One of the things that I found very successful here was giving staff incentives for a company's performance. I think that's magic here. Okay, it really gets people tied into the business. It really gets them committed to what you're doing. As the company makes more revenue, why not share it with the staff? And that helps to fuel that sense of ownership involvement that I think the workforce here finds very valuable. Okay. I think everyone wants to educate your children, and everyone wants to provide the best education for your children. I think what I would see a little bit more unique about Mongolia, and maybe that has to do with being a landlocked company with a small population, people really want to get the best education that they can, okay, for their children. And if they can get their children overseas to study, even better. But the emphasis on education is, I think, is very prevalent here, and I think it's very powerful. You're a country where people just naturally speak different languages. be it Russian, be it Chinese, be it English, okay, be it French. I've met people that have studied languages for Sweden and Norway, and this emphasis on language and being able to communicate. Education is important, and I think we're gonna touch on this. I hope I'm not coming across, because this is something that I would really like to never do, is I really don't want to come across as an old person telling young people what to do and how to live their life. I think young people have a mind of their own, and I think there's a lot of value to figuring things out on your own. So I hope I'm not coming across like that to the audience.
Not at all.
That's a polite way of saying that I'm mature. I've traveled the road very well then. Yeah. Okay. Then just this once, I will assume the mantle of an older person talking to young people, and if you'll allow me, because this is something I believe passionately in, and it certainly has made a difference in my life. Okay. My message to young people and any person anywhere is take care of yourself. And there are some specific things. Please don't smoke, okay? Everyone knows smoking is harmful to you. Please don't do it. And drinking. I'm not anti-drinking, but watch what you drink. Try to eat as healthy as you can, and exercise. That would be my message, my single old person message to young people. You're going to get older, you're going to age, okay? You're going to have health problems. Life is going to change, and life comes at you fast. You have a better chance of staying active and involved and engaged and productive if you're healthy, okay? And that's my message. Please take care of your health. I'll look back on my career, and like any person, there's a million things I wish that I had the chance to do over. I certainly have made a lot of mistakes as I've learned and as I've grown. It really comes down to leadership when you're managing that number of people. And I've worked for good leaders, and I've worked for poorer leaders, okay, and how you communicate, what your message is. You need good people around you. You can't do everything, and again, communicate clearly and know what you want, yeah, and know what you hope to achieve, yeah. If we go back to what we were just touching on, okay, your leadership is not marketing. Okay, marketing is a product. Okay, you have a product, be it a sandwich in CU or a guest room or even a tuition at the International School. You have a product, and they're all different levels, which you're invested in. Okay, hopefully you think it's a good product, or you should think it's a good product. It's something that can add value to people's lives. Okay, make their lives more convenient. Okay, in the short term, I want a cup of coffee now, or long term, I want my child educated, or I want a great family vacation. That's marketing. I have something, and if you're in the market for this product, let's have an agreement. Okay. Leadership is completely different. Okay, leadership is most basic is understanding. Okay, what your business is. Okay, talking about leadership in business. For me, it's just again maybe going back to what we were talking about at the very beginning. Understanding the basics of your business. Okay, understanding what you want from your employees. Understanding what you want your message to society to be. And understanding if you work for owners, understanding what your owners want, okay? If you work for a large corporation, understanding the values of that corporation, and hopefully they're matched with yours. If you're running a small business, understanding what your niche is, okay? And then, again, communicating that, having a plan to make that successful. Getting the buy-in and the commitment of the people that work for you, making sure that the people that are buying your product are satisfied or even delighted, to use a Shangri-La word. Okay, so leadership is moving that forward in the being able to move an organization forward. Yeah. I've been in Mongolia for 7 years, and during my first 4 years, 5 years, I was very business focused. Starting Shangri-La as a business was not easy, and I really have not seen much of the country. Okay, but now that I've retired and semi-retired and my life has slowed down a bit, I have more opportunities. And just 2 weeks ago, I was out in one of the provinces, and I was with a group of colleagues and people that I'm working with, and it became public knowledge that I've never been on a horse. Now, to them, this was inconceivable. Okay, and it had to be fixed right away. So even though we were just getting ready to get in a car and drive back to UB, our plans completely changed. We got in a couple SUVs instead. We rode out into the countryside where one of the people we were with has a horse stable, the racing horses, but because they were going to rectify this discrepancy or this in my life. They had to get me on a horse. So now I have a very nice picture, a proud picture of me on a horse, and it was all very nice. It was in a horse riding pen, and they let me walk the horse around on my own, but they would not let me go out on the step on the grassland. Not just yet, because they said the horse will bolt, and I was thankful for that. But to come to your question about hospitality, of course, here we are. Three guys from the city, the boss of the stable. We just show up at the stable unannounced, and the stable manager lives there with his wife and his family and a girl. And of course, had to stay for lunch. Okay, so there was something so. Again, these are buzzwords, but they have meaning. There was something so authentic and real and natural about what happened next, because we all just went inside and we sat down with very little communication. The head of the family, the wife and the mother, put a pot of water on the stove, dumped what looked like to me half a cow into the boiling water and let it boil for a while, and then take the meat out and put it on a big platter and sit it in front of us, and we all had our knives and cut the meat off the bone and ate it. And while we were doing that, she had dumped rice and some vegetables into the soup and made a wonderful soup. And the naturalness of it all was just amazing. Okay, I felt like an honored guest. And when she brought her bowl of soup over to me, a foreigner, she's never met me before, she'll never see me again, but looked me directly in the eye, okay, and presented it to me like this was something special, a bowl of rice cooked in the soup from the broth from the meat, and of course it tasted fantastic, and the meat was wonderful, and it was a great experience. But that sort of hospitality, and I remember back when I first was involved in Shangri-La, this was a concept that we tried to talk about. Treat our hotel guest like their guest in your ger, in your home, okay, and it was a real experience, both being on the horse and this meal, and there's a lot of buzzwords around travel and hospitality now, that it's not about 5-star standards in luxury. It's about the experience, and there's a truth to that. I personally believe we live in an age where sometimes an experience is becomes just self-marketing, and I don't like that. Okay, an experience is personal. Okay, and thank you for giving me the chance to talk about this during this interview. But yeah, there was something really special about it. It's certainly a memory I will have my whole life. And but real hospitality, natural, warm, giving, caring. Nothing extra. It's just what it is. It's again, it's that basic. It was that core basicness.
I think your point.
I look back on my career, and as I said, I certainly made my share of mistakes, as we all do. I learned as I went. So, someone starting out in business, their own business, or working for another business, maybe I can give three suggestions. Here we are again, old person talking to young person, but I'll run with it. Number one, and this is my regret, because when I left the United States after my undergrad degree, and this was due to circumstances, environment in the world at that time, I really regret that I didn't continue my education. You can work and continue to educate yourself. I would really urge anyone starting out, educate yourself. There's so many options now to further your education. Online training, specific courses you can take, night classes. So continue to educate yourself. And even if it's not related to your field of business, okay, it will enrich your life. So educate yourself. Okay. Number two, find a mentor. Okay. Mentors are important to talk you through those decisions when you're not sure what to do. When you try to do it on your own, you have a very good chance of screwing it up and messing it up. And I know that from from experience. Find a mentor, okay, someone that you can talk to take you through those big decisions, and when they're in front of you, okay, that they're there, and this is a key decision. But unfortunately, most of the time when they come to you, you're exhausted, or you're in a crisis, or there's 1,000 other things going off in your life, and without someone to talk the process through, you can go the wrong way. So find a mentor, okay? And number three, okay, and have a life outside of your business, okay? Don't let your business become everything, okay? You need that, you need those outside interests, family, art, cinema, reading, poetry, photography, whatever it is, sports, follow a sports league passionately. It doesn't matter what it is, but make sure you maintain other interests so that you maintain a balance. You're very right. At this point in my life, my involvement with the International School is really one of the most satisfying things that I'm doing. I've been on the board for over 7 years and have been the chairman of the board for the past 5. My involvement in the school came about simply because I'm a parent. And my son started school here when he was in first grade. I knew very little about international education. I knew very little about the school, but I was asked if I would like to be involved and serve on the board. So that became my involvement. Since then, it has grown, and as I said, it's one of the most satisfying things that I do. I think the school is very important to Mongolia. It's important to the business community. For one thing, when expats come in with families, they want to know that they can educate their children in such a seamless way, in a quality way, that if they're here for 2 years, they don't lose ground, and hopefully they gain ground. And I think with the quality of our education here, any student that comes to this school will leave the school, whether they stay 2 years, 3 years, or the whole course to graduate, will leave the school in a very good place as a global citizen, educated to understand the world, with values, okay? And that's what the school is all about. Maybe to refer back to some of the things that we talked about earlier, again, it's all about quality, and it's all about commitment. This is an accredited school, okay? The school goes through a rigorous process, okay, to verify the quality of our education. The teachers that we hire are world-class teachers, experienced international educators. So again, it's about what do we offer the community, and this is very personal because we're talking about families and children. Okay, what do we offer your children? And my leadership with the school it has nothing to do with the day-to-day operation of the school. It's all about long-term. You know, what is the position of the school going to be in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? How do we sustain this educational institution in this city so that it helps to promote the business environment, okay? It helps to educate the students that are in the school, and it helps to prepare children for the future. And I think, you know, those are the goals that we try to achieve, and those are the mission. So again, it's a very satisfying part of my life. I feel very humble to have this chance to serve the community as the chairman of the board of the school, and I look forward to a few more years of stewardship of this institution.